Welcome back to the channel, about two guys fumbling their way through life in a little old camper van, and so far just about making it work. We're Dan and Stephen, a married couple travelling the UK and beyond in between jobs in our 1996 VW camper. In this video we continue to explore the Cairngorms National Park in Scotland, from green lochs to crumbling ruins and a whole lot of other stuff in between. So sit back, relax and come along dear. So Steve's recovering from yesterday. It's not funny, it's awful, but you have been bitten a lot. So he's covered in cream. Is it doing any good?
No, not really.
No?
I'm taking antihistamine.
Well,
Now
but it was worth it, right? It was worth it.
Now I just have to sit and suffer.
Yeah, but it was worth it. We got to the top of a mountain and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And you did well.
Who's he trying to convince?
No one. It's just facts. Okay, so on that note, the plan is to go down to Loch, which is the one with the beach, and you can swim in it as well. So I'm quite looking forward to that. And Steve wants to do it as well, so that'll be a good thing. However, it is a Sunday. There's quite a lot of people up here on Cairngorm mountain base. So being a Sunday makes me think there might be a lot of people down the Loch. I don't know. It might be nicer in a weekday when it's quieter, but we'll give it a look and see. But as Steve said, if there's lots of midges, maybe we won't do it, because yesterday was very midge heavy basically. So yeah, we'll see what comes up. Okay, so just a quick thing to say, we are not going to Loch today to go for a swim in the Loch. The reason being, we didn't fancy it. The weather's not especially great and it's a Sunday, so it's really busy down there. Now, we would have done it, but it's just the fact that we do have other days, so if we wanted to go back, a weekday would probably be better, especially if the weather's nicer. However, we've got plans tomorrow.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto B9 102.
You're going to do a left here. In a quarter... no, what? I'm talking like that. Tomorrow we've got plans to go to another loch, but in the meantime we're going to go and find a park up for tonight, so off we go. We actually, on that note about finding a park up, we did find a couple, but they were pretty much taken. Also there was a lot of cars. Again, it's the weekend, so you expect it. So it's one of those missions where we're on our about third or fourth attempt now, and we just want to find somewhere. So we're going to get settled down. Hopefully this one is going to come up trumps. Yeah, hopefully this one's going to come up trumps. It's in the woods, well, the forest, so we'll see what that brings. Just got here. We had a few, as I was saying earlier, we've had a few instances where... What's up, midges?
I thought I saw something
really?
small and bitey.
I've gone to about 4 so far that were full up. So we found this one. It's nice and peaceful. It looks okay. No sign saying you can't. So fingers crossed it's going to be all right. And more importantly for me, I can actually go for a run tomorrow. So I'm quite excited about that. And I can drag Steve walking. Yay! If you're in the Cairngorm National Park, there are woods everywhere, forests everywhere. So it'd be quite exciting to go for a wander and go for a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might go for a run in a minute.
What's over there, Dan?
That's a golf course. Okay, so I've just been for a run. We're in this really amazing park up, so I thought I'm going to go for a run. It's brilliant because I love it when there's places where there's clear trails and I can actually get a run in. And I got lost. Of course I got lost. Again. What should have been half an hour or something turned into 2 hours. And the forest behind us, it's made up of about 3 different sections and there are trails in there. It's all very clearly laid out for, you know, sensible people. And when I came back, I decided to come back a different way, which obviously was a terrible, terrible idea. I got utterly lost. I was running around in circles. In the end, we're near a golf course, so I just walked out past the town and past the golf course, I went to the main road and I asked somebody for help. I just said, do you know where the location is, where we are? Bless her, I got back here and the lady actually drove up in her car just to make sure I got back all right. So it's so nice when there's people like that out there, you know, not everybody's horrible. Bit of faith in humanity there, that she actually drove up to the car park to make sure I'd got back safely, which was really nice. So back to mosquito bite watch, as we're now calling it. Stephen's now trying. He's read about if you heat up a spoon and get it hot enough, but not like too unbearably hot, but hot enough.
It's gotta be hot.
It's got to be hot.
You don't want to blister your skin.
Yeah, you don't want to blister yourself, burn yourself. And then you hold it onto the bite. What does it do? So he's trying it now. So basically holding it down should kind of...
It's supposed to kill the protein that produces the histamine to reduce the itching, because that's the bit that's the worst.
Right. So it should ultimately reduce the inflammation of the bite and make it go down, right? Effectively.
Yeah, you'll still have a bump, but...
And while we were here, we got to enjoy the local wildlife, including an abundance of red squirrels. Even if the footage wasn't great, we appreciated staying in their surroundings, as they are very scarce in most of England.
So today we're going to go and visit a special place. So it's a loch. There's many lochs around here, but this one's special because it's known as the Green Loch, and it's known as the Green Loch because it looks green. Steve's giving this a miss today because he's kind of sick of the midges, basically, which is pretty understandable. I don't think they'd be out, but we can't guarantee it. Obviously, we're walking by a loch, so sometimes they're out during the day. And he's been bitten really badly. The lumps are pretty horrific on him, actually. So I'm going to check this out by myself. Steve's going to nip into town and pick up some bits. The reason it looks green, I think, is because of the algae in there, also to do with the reflection of the trees off the water. But there is one catch. You're only really supposed to be able to see the effect of the green, and it is supposed to be quite amazing. I've seen some pictures. When it's a sunny day, and we're not really having much luck with sunny days at the moment. Okay, so the walk for this it's allegedly about 45 minutes from the reindeer centre and the Glenmore visitor centre, all of those bits along the road. 45 minutes there and back, I'm assuming, so hour and a half. And then the loch itself, I think, is quite small. But the path it's just basically a road so far. So I think it's pretty easy to access. But the weather has lied to me because it is not sunny. There is hardly any patch of blue sky. So I think the effect will be lost somewhat. So I'm going to go in, not expecting very much, and then hopefully I'll be surprised. And I'm sure it'll be lovely anyway.
In the end, the loch wasn't very far and very easy to walk to. I even saw someone pushing a wheelchair there, so this little gem is definitely accessible to all. Unfortunately, the cloudy sky and the relatively low waterline meant the turquoise effect it's known for wasn't at its strongest, but it was still a beautiful, peaceful haven and ideal for those wanting a shorter, undemanding walk while still being able to enjoy the Cairngorms and its wild scenery. The Green Loch gets its colour from the algae present in the water, or some say the reflection of the trees. However, we prefer the third reason, that pixies come down to the shore to wash their clothes, turning the loch turquoise.
And again in the dusk of evening,
I shall find once more alone the dark water of the Green Loch and the past beyond Ruthven. Oh, that was going so well till I had to pronounce that last word. I was about to say, I bet he's sleeping, but I saw the blind going up. And while I was gone, Stephen got lost.
I took the wrong turning, so we ended up having a scenic drive to Tesco's.
I've got a purpose. I've finally got a purpose. The sat nav. You missed the sat nav.
You're the navigator.
Yeah. So it's just nice to be missed. I'm not saying you did miss me, but
so, no, it's your time to navigate us to a spot to have a settled afternoon, I think.
Okay, so that was the Loch. It was beautiful. Probably not my favourite thing I've done since I've been here, but still really nice. However, if you come back on a really sunny day, I can imagine it's absolutely spectacular because you can see the hints of where the blue and the green are. And when you're standing above it, you can see how it stands out compared to other lochs. And the fact it's right in the centre where the Glenmore Visitor Centre is and the Reindeer Centre, it means it's just so easy to get to and just something you can do on a whim, basically. Just go somewhere up here, yeah? So we're on our way to find a park up for the evening. Tomorrow we've got some plans to go and see some ruins, which is a bit different. Ruins? Some ruins. So where are we, Steve?
Tomintoul?
Stephen?
Tomintoul?
Tomintoul, I don't know how you say it. Apparently it's the highest village in Britain, which is an impressive feat.
And you're welcome as well.
You are welcome. You're welcome to stay here, which is really nice, as long as you respect the area, obviously. So it's a bit late in the day now, but we're just going to go and have a little walk around the village, just get our bearings, and go in some shops if they're open, just to see what's about. But the amount of walks here, there just seems to be absolutely tons. So Steve is delighted that I've seen that. I'm going for another run. I actually have no idea what the paths are like around here, so it might be very short. So we'll see. Okay, so I've just been for a run. As I said, we're in a place called Tomintoul, and it's really nice, really isolated. One thing about this place is it's also a dark sky. Wait a minute. It's the Dark Sky Discovery Park, which basically means it's one of the areas where you can come and see the stars. It's a good place because there's very little light pollution. Obviously in the countryside, so it's completely away from people and civilization generally, despite the fact there's a village just up the road. And it's one of the places where you can have meets to do all that kind of stuff. They've got some events coming up in September, which sadly we won't be here for. So that's quite nice to know. And on clear days, I mean, ever since we've been in the Cairngorms, I've been looking out just to see if we can see the stars, and there has been nothing because it's been fully cloudy, but it's fine. And apparently you can see the Northern Lights from here in the winter or the autumn, I'm not sure. But one thing I just wanted to say is I feel like there's a bit of a preconception, and I had it as well, that when you're travelling in a van, and I'd be really interested to see what other people think on this, that if you're a runner, that you're going to have access to all these amazing runs all the time, and it's going to be really easy, and every day is going to be an amazing run for you if you wanted to do that. And there are lots of amazing spots, and it's wonderful when you find them. And last night, the night before, our park up in the forest was especially good for it. But more often than not,
this isn't the case, and it's actually really tricky trying to find running spots on the road, more I would say, because a lot of the time we park in lay-bys, so obviously lay-bys are usually on main roads, so it kind of rules out a lot of that. Or if it's not that, sometimes it'll be that the terrain, the path that would be nearby that I might run on close to where we're parked is just, it's either uneven or it's too muddy, or it might be too rocky and steep, or the path might kind of constrict and be all grass in the end. You know, you need a good amount of room to kind of do it. And I don't mind running hills as well, but you don't want to just be suddenly like that and then that all the time either. So yeah, on balance, it's actually quite, I would say, maybe once or twice a week. Oh, actually, I'm not even going to put a number on it, but I would say finding really good spots that are good for me to run in are not as common as I might think, and I'm just interested to see what other people think on that. This is why forest park-ups are probably my favourite, because more often than not you'll park in a place where you'll be in a little car park, and then there's a trail that goes very clearly, usually circular, through the woods. So these are often the best for running, but yeah, it can be difficult, but it doesn't mean it's not nice, and I'm not complaining or anything. I'm just saying that, you know, it can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, and today was a bit of a mixed bag. Really nice to start with, but then the path just kind of ended and I just sort of had to come back on myself. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that, and just wondering what other people think on it, basically, in terms of running.
Well, we didn't explore more of Tomintoul for reasons we can't remember, instead moving on to explore the ruins of an ancient barracks nearby. Right, where are we, Steve? Where are we, Stevie?
King Gussie?
We're in a place called Ruthven Barracks. So it's an old ruin, and it's 300 years old, but basically it was built to patrol the highways here, to stop crime effectively in the Highland area, as a sort of base, and it used to house plenty of men in order to do this, but it has a history of raids and all sorts of other typically old building-esque stories attached to it, and we're gonna go and find that out basically. There's not a huge amount left of it, but there's still enough, and it's free, which is great, so we can go and walk around. So let's go and have a look, shall we?
Aye.
Aye. Some ancient scaffolding there, which I believe dates to 1837. Okay, so we're in the barracks. As I said, it's about 300 years old. Half of it's actually shut because of the scaffolding that's there, and I know it's necessary, but it does so much to take out the historical illusion, doesn't it? You walk in, it's like, hey, old ruins, and then it's like, oh, metal bars and wooden planks, but you just deal with it. It's necessary to conserve the site, I understand that. But what we can see is still pretty impressive, I think, for what it was, and given it was built just as like a policing station, if you like, to kind of keep the crime in the area under control. That's quite an impressive building.
Built in the early 1700s, Ruthven Barracks were designed to maintain law and order in the Cairngorms, essentially acting as a rural police station of its time. Constructed on a hilltop where a castle previously stood, gave the barracks long-reaching views over the surrounding landscape. The building was designed to house up to 120 troops, with a separate stable for the horses. After a failed uprising in 1745, the Jacobites actually took control of Ruthven the following year. However, as the Jacobites had lost a bigger battle elsewhere, their leader effectively told them the game was up and to leave. So, presumably feeling rather furious and resentful, they destroyed the barracks, leaving the ruins we see today.
Barracks are built in such a prominent position. You can see why they built this place, to be honest, because it's high up, it's on this mound and it gives you a really great view of the surrounding area. It did, however, all end in tears. Of course it did. It's an old ruin. Everything does. It doesn't, but it seems like that sometimes. For anyone thinking of visiting, as you can see, we're parked just over there. So you can park. It's a very small car park, so you probably have to be quite lucky to get a spot. But it's very close to the ruins, so you don't have to travel too far. Right, come on, Steve. What facts have you learned? What have you remembered?
It was there to help protect the highways from the Jacobites.
Yeah.
Jacobites?
I don't know how you say it either. It's
from Hellraiser.
The Cenobite. Oh yeah, it's to protect against the Cenobites.
And they managed to do it.
I knew it was real. So who surrendered the people in the barracks?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened to make it burn down?
I don't know.
We have read all this. No, basically it was burned down and they kind of just left it, and I forget, do you know what, facts come in later, alright? It was a good visit, it's really well worth it. It's a very quick visit that you can park outside, so, you know, a little bit of history there and some quite nice ruins. Despite our limited knowledge that we can't remember, but we'll write it all down. And this is a little car park. It's very small, but it is close to the ruins, look. So it's like seconds from it, basically. But it's a good little visit. It's interesting, and there's a bit of Scottish history.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Cairngorms and you're near Kingussie, come to Ruthven Barracks and give it a try.
And with that done, we headed off to a park up to settle down for the night. Join us next week as we conclude our time in the Cairngorms, ending with some waterfalls and a challenging hike up another of Scotland's high peaks, where the only respite was an isolated hut known as a bothy, miles from anywhere. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel if you want to see more, and ding that notification bell for regular updates. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.